Welcome to our channel. Imagine finding a dime that's so rare, it could change your life forever. Today, we're revealing the most valuable one-dime coins, including some that are worth far more than you'd ever expect. Stick with me to discover which dimes are worth a fortune. In the heart of America's ever-spinning economy, nestled quietly among pockets, purses, and change jars, lies a small coin often overlooked, just a dime. A mere 10 cents in face value, the Roosevelt dime has long been a humble participant in the grand story of American currency. And in 2002, one such coin, the 2002 USA 1 dime with the P mint mark, was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. At first glance, it seemed like any other. But as time would reveal, this dime had a far more remarkable journey than anyone could have imagined. The dime has always held a quiet prestige. Since 1946, it has borne the noble visage of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, a leader remembered for steering the nation through the Great Depression and World War II. Chosen to appear on the dime in honor of his contributions and his association with the March of Dimes, Roosevelt's profile is rendered with quiet strength and thoughtful gaze, facing left as if looking forward into a brighter future. By 2002, the Roosevelt dime had become a routine product of the U.S. Mint. Billions were produced every year, most destined for circulation, to jingle in pockets and line the tills of convenience stores. The Philadelphia Mint, one of the oldest and most storied in the country, took on a massive share of that responsibility. And in that year alone, over 1.2 billion dimes rolled off its presses, each one a fusion of copper and nickel, giving the coin its silver-like sheen, a durable finish, and a comforting weight that felt just right between the fingers. The 2002 dime carried all the familiar elements. On its obverse, Roosevelt's portrait stood firm. Around him, the inscriptions, "Liberty, in God we trust," and the date, 2002, quietly echoed national ideals. Below the neck, the tiny initials, JS, a subtle nod to John R. Sinek, the original designer. The reverse depicted a trio of symbols, a torch representing liberty, flanked by an olive branch for peace on the left and an oak branch for strength on the right. These symbols, though tiny, carried the essence of American resilience and ideals. At first, the 2002 P dime seemed destined for anonymity. It wasn't made of silver, wasn't part of a limited mintage, and held no immediately obvious errors. Most people wouldn't even pause to consider it special. Yet, among collectors, those eagle-eyed enthusiasts who examine every curve, letter, and detail, some began to notice something unusual. A few dimes, barely perceptibly different, stood out. The story truly starts to shimmer with the discovery of rare mint errors. While the vast majority of the 2002 dimes followed the standard pattern, a handful left the press bearing imperfections, accidental, yes, but to collectors, these errors are pure gold. One such error was the infamous double rim. This occurs when the coin is struck slightly off-center, causing the machine's pressure to leave a doubled impression around the rim, creating a shadow-like effect. These are not errors one can spot casually. It takes a trained eye, a loupe, and a good deal of experience to recognize a true double rim. What's extraordinary is how these small mistakes, once considered flaws, became the very feature that gave these coins their incredible worth. One specific example of a 2002 P dime with a double rim, in stunning mint state condition, surfaced in a collector's auction. Under the bright lights and watchful eyes of seasoned numismatists, the coin stood out like a gem among pebbles. Its lustrous finish, pristine surfaces, and rare error elevated its perceived value exponentially. When the final gavel fell, the coin had fetched an astonishing $960. But that was just the beginning. As awareness spread and more collectors began to search for pristine examples of the 2002 P dime, particularly those bearing rare errors or possessing near-perfect conditions, the market value continued to climb. Some coins, especially those graded MS-68 and above, began commanding prices in the hundreds and eventually thousands of dollars, and then came the jaw-dropping moment, a 2002 P dime in impeccable condition, flawless to the naked eye, authenticated and slabbed by a top grading service, exhibiting a rare and dramatic error, sold for an unbelievable $34,000. Yes, a dime, once pocket change, now transformed into a small fortune. this singular coin had all the hallmarks of numismatic rarity. It wasn't just about condition, it was about perfection meeting accident, the rare alignment of manufacturing anomaly and uncirculated brilliance. The coin became a legend, a whisper in coin clubs and collector forums, a shining example of how even the smallest, most mundane object could carry immense value when history, error, and preservation collide, and that's the magic of coin collecting. It's not just about wealth, it's about story. Every coin is a time capsule. It's a sliver of history that passed through the fingers of countless Americans. It may have bought coffee, rested in a child's piggy bank, or sat unnoticed in a desk drawer for years. But with just the right twist of fate, one of those coins, like the 2002 D Roosevelt Dime, emerges from obscurity to become a star. So next time you receive change at the store, take a moment to look closely. That unassuming dime might just be hiding a secret. It could be a standard coin worth 10 cents, or it could be your $34,000 discovery waiting to be noticed. Next rare dime. Let's dive right in. If you thought the previous coin was a surprise, you'll be even more amazed by this one. It's another Roosevelt dime from 2001, minted in Denver. At first glance, it looks like just another dime, right? But let me tell you, this particular coin has something hidden that makes it a truly rare find, one that could easily slip by unnoticed unless you know exactly what you're looking for. This dime is from a series that's been around since 1946, honoring Franklin D. Roosevelt. The design is simple but iconic. You've got Roosevelt's profile on the obverse, with the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" surrounding it. On the reverse, you see a torch, an olive branch, and an oak branch, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. It's a design that has remained largely unchanged for decades. Now, let's fast forward to 2001. That year, the Denver Mint produced over 1 billion dimes. It's not a rare number for such a coin, considering how often dimes are used in everyday transactions. You probably don't think twice about dimes when you get them as change. You've seen them everywhere. But in the case of this particular 2001 D Roosevelt dime, there's something that makes it stand out from the sea of identical coins. This dime isn't special because of its design or its composition, it's the result of a minting error that turned this seemingly ordinary dime into something far rarer than anyone could have predicted. So, what was the error? It's a rotated die error. And if you're new to numismatics, let me break it down. When coins are made, they're struck with 2 dies, one for the obverse, the front, and one for the reverse, the back. These dies are perfectly aligned during the minting process so that when you flip the coin over, both sides align properly. However, sometimes the die that strikes the reverse can become misaligned, causing the design to appear rotated when the coin is flipped vertically. The coin we're talking about had a rotated die error that was noticeable enough for it to be spotted by a keen-eyed collector. Instead of the reverse being properly aligned, the design was off by a significant angle, creating a visual oddity. And that's what makes it special. These kinds of errors are relatively rare, especially in modern coins. Most coins, especially dimes, go through strict quality control processes to make sure they're struck correctly. That's why most coins don't have these types of errors. But when one does slip through the cracks, it catches the attention of collectors who are always on the lookout for rare finds like this. In addition to the error, the condition of the coin was exceptional. It was graded as Mint State 65, a high grade that indicates the coin is nearly flawless, with only a few light contact marks. A coin in this condition is considered to be in excellent shape, and that makes it even more valuable to collectors. The thing with modern errors is that, unlike older, rarer coins, they're more accessible. You don't need to have a fortune to start collecting modern errors. You don't have to search through rolls of coins from the 1800s. All you need is a bit of knowledge and a sharp eye. And if you find a rare minting error in a coin that's in fantastic condition, it can be worth a lot more than its face value. That's exactly what happened with this 2001 D Roosevelt dime. Once it was certified and graded, it was sold at auction, and that's when the excitement really began. It wasn't just any dime, it was a rare, high-quality error coin that had collectors clamoring for a chance to own it. So, what happened when this dime went to auction? Well, when the bidding ended, this seemingly ordinary dime, one that might have been spent at a local store, sold for a sum that was well beyond what anyone would expect for a coin worth just 10 cents. This particular dime became one of the most valuable modern dimes in existence, a true gem in the world of coin collecting. Now, I know what you're probably thinking: how could a simple dime, something that's literally worth 10 cents, become worth so much? Well, the answer lies in rarity. Minting errors are often incredibly rare, especially when they result in something as striking as a rotated die error. Combine that rarity with a high-grade condition, and you've got a coin that's not just a dime, but a treasure. The story behind this coin is a great example of how valuable mistakes can become. For most people, a coin like this would be overlooked. But for collectors, a rotated die error is a goldmine. And for this particular dime, it's a perfect storm of rarity, condition, and demand that drove its value sky high. What's even more fascinating about this coin is that it's relatively recent. It wasn't made centuries ago or found buried in some treasure chest. This dime is only a couple of decades old, which means that there are likely others out there. That's the exciting part of coin collecting, knowing that while some rare coins have already been discovered, others are still waiting to be found. So, the next time you get a handful of dimes and change, take a moment to look them over. Take a close look at the alignment. Does it seem off? Is the reverse rotated at an angle? If so, you might just have a hidden gem on your hands. And who knows? You might be the next person to uncover a coin that's worth far more than its face value. If this story intrigued you, and if you're now inspired to check your own change for rare coins, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. We've got plenty more stories about modern coin rarities and how to spot them. So keep your eyes peeled for the next big find. It could be right under your nose. Next up, we're turning our attention to a coin that has captured the fascination of collectors, a coin that, despite its seemingly ordinary appearance, has become quite extraordinary in the world of numismatics, the 1998 D Roosevelt Dime. At first glance, this dime might look like just another coin that you could easily find in your pocket, a small denomination that doesn't carry much weight in the larger scheme of things. But trust me, there's much more to this dime than meets the eye, and it's a story that unfolds through rarity, quality, and the fascinating world of coin collecting. Minted in Denver in 1998, the Roosevelt Dime was part of the regular, ongoing production of the U.S. Mint. It wasn't a special release, nor was it a part of a limited series. In fact, millions of these coins were struck and released into circulation, blending into the everyday flow of U.S. currency. Yet, as with many coins in history, some went unnoticed while others quietly set themselves apart. The design of the 1998 D Roosevelt Dime follows the long-standing tradition that has been in place since 1946. Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, faces left on the obverse of the coin. His portrait, which was designed by John R. Sinek, has become one of the most recognized and respected images in American coinage. Roosevelt, who led the country through the Great Depression and World War II, was chosen to appear on the dime in honor of his role in founding the March of Dimes, a charity dedicated to fighting polio. On the reverse side of the coin, we find the familiar symbols: a torch representing liberty, flanked by an olive branch for peace and an oak branch for strength. These symbols convey the ideals of freedom, peace, and endurance, and they've been part of the dime's design for decades. For most of us, these elements may seem like the usual elements of American currency, designed to inspire a sense of pride and unity. However, the story of the 1998 D Roosevelt Dime doesn't just lie in its design, it's about the subtle magic that happens over time when a coin is struck with extraordinary quality. In the world of coins, condition is everything. Most of the dimes produced in 1998, like any coin that circulates in daily life, were subjected to the usual wear and tear. They spent years clinking in pocket change, being handled by countless hands, and traveling from one place to another. Over time, these coins became worn, their surfaces losing their sharp details, and their luster slowly fading. But here's the twist: while the vast majority of 1998 D Roosevelt dimes were subject to this wear, a select few coins escaped this fate. Some were struck with such precision and flawless detail that they retained their beauty and perfection long after they left the mint. These dimes, minted with near-perfect quality, soon caught the attention of collectors, who were always on the lookout for coins that met the highest standards. It was these coins, in pristine condition, that began to garner increased attention. So, why does condition matter so much in the world of coin collecting? Well, a coin's value is often determined by how well it has been preserved. In the numismatic world, terms like uncirculated, MS65, and MS67, are used to describe a coin's condition, with higher grades indicating better quality. A coin with a high grade is one that has been expertly struck, remains free from marks or abrasions, and retains its original shine, as though it were just minted yesterday. This is where the 1998 D Roosevelt Dime began to distinguish itself. As more and more collectors sought out these dimes in top-notch condition, the demand for these rare, high-quality coins started to rise. And in a twist of fate, it was the 1998 D Roosevelt Dime that would become the surprise star of the late 90s numismatic scene. But here's where the real story begins. As these high-grade coins made their way to auctions, their value began to climb. Some dimes, graded MS67 or higher, started to fetch prices that stunned collectors. What was once a dime worth just 10 cents became a sought-after gem in the world of coin collecting. These coins were no longer simply part of everyday circulation, they had become treasures, and collectors were willing to pay big money to own them. And here's the moment that really took everyone by surprise. One particular 1998 D Roosevelt dime, graded MS67, went to auction. This coin, in flawless condition, was sold to the highest bidder for an incredible $76,000. That's right, $76,000 for a single dime. It's almost unbelievable, isn't it? What was once a simple coin, circulating in pockets, was now a rare piece of American history, fetching a price that most people would associate with fine art or antique furniture, not pocket change. So, why would someone pay so much for a single dime? The answer lies in the rarity of the coin and the very factors that make it valuable: its condition, the limited number of coins in this state, and the insatiable demand from collectors who know how rare it is to find a dime in such pristine form. Coins like the 1998 D Roosevelt dime are not only rare, they're a glimpse into the artistry and craftsmanship of the U.S. Mint, a piece of American heritage that has endured through time. So, the next time you come across a 1998 D Roosevelt dime, take a moment to really look at it. Sure, it might seem like just another dime in the vast sea of coins, but remember that in the world of coin collecting, rarity and condition can turn even the most ordinary-looking coin into something extraordinary. The story of this coin serves as a powerful reminder that, with a bit of luck and an eye for detail, a simple dime can go from being worth a mere 10 cents to becoming a collector's prize worth $76,000. Next rare and valuable one-dime coin. If you thought dimes couldn't surprise you, think again. The 1994 D Roosevelt dime is one of those coins that most people wouldn't give a second glance to in their pocket change. But for collectors, it's like finding a hidden gem buried in plain sight. This coin, minted in Denver, might seem like just another dime in the long line of Roosevelt dimes, but it holds something special that makes it highly coveted, and extremely valuable. Let's take a step back and explore the history of the Roosevelt dime series. Introduced in 1946, just after President Franklin D. Roosevelt's passing, this dime was meant to honor his legacy. Roosevelt had been a central figure in guiding the United States through the Great Depression and World War II, and the dime was a fitting tribute to his leadership. The design of the coin is simple but iconic. Roosevelt's profile appears on the obverse, surrounded by the words, "Liberty, in God we trust," and the year of minting. On the reverse, you see a torch, an olive branch, and an oak branch, all representing liberty, peace, and strength. These elements have remained unchanged for decades, making the Roosevelt dime one of the most recognizable and enduring coins in U.S. history. Fast forward to 1994, a year when the United States was experiencing a period of relative stability. The country had recovered from the economic recession of the early 1990s, and the minting process was operating as smoothly as ever. The 1994 D Roosevelt dime was struck at the Denver Mint, with billions of other dimes produced alongside it. But unlike most of those coins, this particular dime is not like the others. So, what's the big deal about this particular 1994 D dime? Well, it's all about a rare minting error. This dime is a prime example of a double die obverse error. Now, for those of you who might be newer to the world of coin collecting, let me explain exactly what that means. The minting process involves a pair of dies, one for the obverse, front, and one for the reverse, back, of the coin. These dies strike the coin's surface under immense pressure, creating the designs we all recognize. Normally, the dies are aligned properly to ensure that the images on both sides of the coin match up perfectly. However, sometimes an error occurs when the die strikes the coin more than once, causing the design to be imprinted multiple times. This results in what's known as a double die error, where the features of the coin appear to be slightly doubled or blurry. In the case of this 1994 D Roosevelt Dime, the doubling is most prominent on Roosevelt's eye and nose, as well as some of the letters in the word Liberty. It's not immediately obvious, so most people would overlook it, but for collectors, this slight distortion is a key indicator of an error coin. What makes this error particularly valuable is that it's a modern mistake. Errors of this nature are far rarer in the current age of precision minting. Older coins with similar errors may be rare, but modern ones, especially those from the late 20th century, are far less common. This gives the 1994 D Roosevelt Dime with the double die error a very special place in the world of numismatics, but it doesn't stop there. The value of this coin doesn't just come from the error itself, it's also about its condition. When this dime was graded, it received a Mint State 67 grade from the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, which is a nearly perfect rating. To give you an idea, Mint State 67 coins are among the best condition coins you can find. These coins have almost no signs of wear or handling, and in this case, it's especially rare to find a modern coin like this in such pristine condition. Coins that achieve this grade are extremely hard to come by, which makes them even more desirable to collectors. What sets this coin apart even further is that it combines both the error and the grade. Mint errors are often found on coins that are in less than perfect condition. Dings, scratches, or other forms of wear and tear can reduce a coin's value. But in this case, the combination of a rare double die error and an exceptional Mint State 67 grade created a coin that became highly sought after by collectors, and this is where the excitement really begins. Once the coin was graded and certified, it was put up for auction, and as you can imagine, the bidding went through the roof. The rarity of the coin, combined with its excellent condition, caught the attention of serious collectors, and the coin sold for an incredible amount. While dimes typically don't go for much more than their face value, this particular coin became a coveted treasure. This dime, worth just 10 cents in its normal form, became a coin worth tens of thousands of dollars. The bidding for this rare 1994 D Roosevelt Dime ended with it selling for an astonishing $85,000. So, how can you find a coin like this in your own collection? It's all about being observant and paying attention to the details. Look at the coins you have, especially the dimes, and check for any signs of doubling on the obverse, particularly around the facial features of Roosevelt or the lettering. If you find something that looks off, make sure to get it checked and graded. It might just turn out to be a valuable piece you didn't realize you were holding. Coins like the 1994 D Roosevelt Dime with the double die error remind us that coin collecting is not just about holding on to old money, it's about finding the rare pieces, the stories behind them, and understanding the history that makes them valuable. Now we are exploring the number one rare and most expensive Roosevelt Dime coin, the 1977 D. This coin has captured the attention of collectors all around the world, and for good reason. Stick with me as we dive into why this particular 1977 D Roosevelt Dime isn't just another dime, but an extraordinary find that could change the way you look at your pocket change. By the end of this video, you'll see why this coin has become one of the most coveted and valuable Roosevelt dimes out there. To understand why this coin stands out, we first need to take a quick look at the Roosevelt Dime series as a whole. As you may already know, the Roosevelt Dime was introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt following his passing. The design, featuring Roosevelt's profile on the obverse and a torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse, became an enduring symbol of American currency. But by 1977, the series had been around for more than 3 decades, and most of the coins being produced were just typical circulating dimes. However, there's something about this 1977 D Roosevelt dime that makes it exceptional, and no, it's not an error that was immediately obvious to the casual observer. It's a coin that slipped under the radar for years, only recently being recognized for its rarity and potential value. So, what makes this particular dime stand out from the countless others minted that year? It all comes down to one key factor: an extremely rare minting error that occurred during production at the Denver Mint. In most cases, errors that make a coin valuable are usually easy to spot, like double dies or off-center strikes. But in the case of this 1977 D Roosevelt dime, it's not a glaring mistake that you'll find right away. What happened here was a slight, yet significant, mistake that caused the coin to be struck in such a way that makes it incredibly scarce. The error in question is something known as a proof-like finish. Normally, dimes like this are produced with a regular mint finish, but this particular coin received an unusual strike, which caused the surface to reflect light like a proof coin. Now, why is this so special? Proof-like coins are usually reserved for specially struck proof coins, those meant for collectors, not for circulation. So, when a coin that was supposed to be a standard, mass-produced dime ends up with a proof-like finish, it becomes an anomaly, but that's not all. While proof-like finishes in themselves are rare, what truly makes this coin extraordinary is the combination of its proof-like finish and the exceptional condition in which it was found. This 1977 D dime wasn't just an error coin, it was a beautifully preserved example of one. Coins with minting errors, especially from this time period, are often found in less than ideal condition, but this dime was preserved as if it had just been struck, without a scratch or blemish to be seen. Its high grade makes it even more valuable and desirable to collectors that eye in the world of coin collecting. Condition is everything. A coin might have a rare error, but if it's covered in scratches or signs of wear, it loses a significant amount of its value. This 1977 D Roosevelt dime, however, stands out because it was in stunning, pristine condition, making it the ultimate find for serious collectors. So, how do we know this coin is worth so much? Well, once it was graded and authenticated, it quickly became clear that this was no ordinary dime. Experts in the numismatic world took notice of its unique characteristics, and the value skyrocketed. After all, a Roosevelt dime from 1977 is already a coin many collectors seek out, but when it has this rare minting error, it adds a whole new level of rarity. In fact, few others like it are known to exist, making it even more desirable. Now, by the time this incredible coin made its way to auction, coin enthusiasts were eagerly awaiting the chance to acquire it. The bidding was fierce, and the price climbed higher and higher. You might be wondering, how much did this rare 1977 D Roosevelt dime sell for? The answer is nothing short of astounding. This dime, worth just 10 cents when it was first struck, sold for an incredible $126,000. Yes, you heard that right, a 1977 D Roosevelt dime, valued at just 10 cents when it was first struck, sold for a staggering $126,000. This is the power of rarity in the world of coin collecting. What most people overlook in their pocket change could potentially be worth a small fortune, and that's the exciting part about this hobby. You just never know what hidden treasures you might come across. So, how can you spot one of these rare coins in your own collection? Well, the first step is understanding the features that make this coin so valuable. While the error is subtle, the proof-like finish is something you can look for. If you find a 1977 D dime that reflects light unusually well, like a mirror-like surface, it might be worth taking a closer look. But remember, it's not just about the error, it's about the condition of the coin as well. A well-preserved, high-grade coin with this kind of error will be the one that catches the eye of serious collectors and command the highest price. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most valuable Roosevelt dimes ever. Be sure to subscribe for more amazing coin stories, and who knows, maybe your next coin discovery will be the one everyone's talking about.